Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and as most of you know, I'm the black powder editor for Guns of the Old West magazine. And I'm up here today at my range at Duelist Den, and we've got a 1861 Colt Navy replica. Now, this gun is imported by Dixie Gun Works and is made by Pietta in Italy, and it's the London model, which you can tell from the steel backstrap. It's a 36 caliber cap and ball revolver, and let's take it out and see what it can do. Well, as you've probably already guessed, the 1861 Navy was released by Colt in 1861. It was meant to be an update of the 1851 Navy, which you see on top in this picture. And the 1851 had an octagonal barrel, and the 1861 basically had a round barrel, round and polished. The 1861 Navy was the second of three guns in Sam Colt's new series, as he called it. The first one was the 1860 Army model, which is on the bottom. Then, of course, the 1861 Navy, which is in the middle. And the final one was the 1862 36 caliber police revolver, which was the last gun that Sam Colt designed. And of all his guns, he thought the 1861 Navy was the prettiest. Most 1861 Navies would have looked more like this. It would have had a brass trigger guard and backstrap and a 7.5-inch barrel. But this 1861 Pietta London model has a steel backstrap, and it has, for some reason, an 8-inch barrel, which I really don't understand. It just makes it impossible to put it in my 1851 holsters that have a toe plug, but it shoots well. For this range session, I loaded the 1861 Navy revolver with 3 different projectiles. I used round balls, I used Kaito Ojama's really superb conicals, and I used John Gurney's paper cartridge bullets. I started off loading with round balls, which weigh 83 grains. Let's load the 1861 Navy. I've got it on half cock so the cylinder will spin freely. And I'm going to load it with 20 grains of GoX 3F black powder. So I'll just fill up the measure. Pour in the powder. Try not to spill everything, but it's hard to manipulate the camera and get this right. Next, I'm going to top it with a felt wad that's lubricated. Get that seated. And then I'm using a .380 diameter cast lead ball. So I'm going to try to seat that sprue up as near as possible. Get it under the rammer and send it home. So we're going to do that 5 times. I got criticized for not loading 6, which you could do, and you could certainly lower it on one of these safety notches here. There we go. And that locks up the cylinder. And they did do that in the old days. I'm so used to loading 5 because of shooting SAS and my other single actions that I just prefer to load 5. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get them loaded up and then we'll cap it. So with all the chambers loaded, the next step is to cap it. I've got a Ted Cash snail capper here, and it just fits in very nicely. And we'll do all 5 of those. And then the last step for me is I always want to make sure the caps are seated. So I just take a dowel and I'll just press them all down. There we go. I'll swing around to the empty. And we'll try that again. Swing it around to the empty one. And we're safe. Good to go. Well, it looks like Evil Roy and the gang are the victims of a bad spray tan. But we're going to take the 1861 Colt and we're going to put it on Steel Steve. And you'll notice I put an aiming dot on there. What I want to see is where will this gun shoot, because this is the first time I've had it out. So we're going to see how it does with round balls and 20 grains of GoX, and we'll take it from there. Well, a little high, as we would expect, but not too bad. After that, I loaded up with some of Kaido's conical bullets. Well, I'm going to load the 1861 Navy up with another projectile. These are conical bullets from a mold made by Kaido Ojama, and they weigh about 112 grains. And because they have two grease grooves that I've lubed up, we're not going to use the felt wad, which means even though it's a longer bullet, I can still put in the 20 grain charge that I was previously using. So we'll just show you how these load up. I'll dump in the powder charge. Now, these bullets have an undersized first band to allow it to just drop right into the chamber mouth. I rotate under the rammer, and then the oversized bands above it to seal the chamber completely. You can see the rings of lead I've got. This is the fifth one that I've seated. So now I'm ready to cap up and go to town. Well, let's see how Kaido's conical bullets do on Steel Steve. Gotta wait for the smoke to clear. That is phenomenal accuracy. Kaido's bullets really shoot. Well, this is a 5-shot group with Kaido's bullets, 15 yards offhand. Not bad at all. So the last ammunition we're going to try is John Gurney's paper cartridges, which are just excellent. I'm going to show you one final method of loading the 1861 Navy, and that's with pre-prepared cartridges. These are paper cartridges. Now, this would have been every bit as common a way to load these revolvers back in the 1860s as using loose powder and ball. Now, when you open up the package, what you'd find are 6 cartridges and then a little spill here that actually has percussion caps in it. So these cartridges all fit in their little wooden box, and they are tapered so that they go easily into the chambers. So with the Colt on half cock, we'll just slide one of these in. Let me get it underneath here a bit. And as you can see, it goes in very cleanly. You bring it up under the loading lever, and just send it the rest of the way home. And that's it. The bullets have lubricant on them, so you don't need any wads. Use the caps that came in the box, and you're ready to go. This was the best thing they had until they came up with the self-contained brass cartridges. So I'm just going to load up 5, and we'll go see how it shoots. Well, let's see how the paper cartridges do when we put them on Steel Steve. Well, I'll take that. Well, I've got the 1861 Navy loaded up with paper cartridges. And I'm going to give it a try on the spinners. I'm not sure how well I'll do because obviously the sights are not hitting the point of aim, but I'm going to do my best, so let's see. Well, I kind of got it figured out. Well, let's see how the 1861 Navy does against some 2-liter water bottles. Once again, I have it loaded up with the paper cartridges, and we'll see how they do. Well, I just wounded one of them. That's the danger of only loading 5 instead of loading 6. You know, I'm pretty pleased with the way the 1861 Navy's been shooting for me today. So I'm going to try a little more difficult target. I'm going to try 1-liter bottles of water. And this time I loaded the 1861 Navy up with Kaido Ojama's conical bullets because they seem to be about the most accurate in this gun. Now they've been shooting high, so I'm still going to have to hold off of the target. So hopefully I can find the sweet spot. And I only loaded 5, so I better find it fast. I don't know if you saw that on video, but after the last of the bottles went down, 2 of the caps fell straight out of the sky. That was pretty funny. Well, Kaido's bullets are doing so good, I'm going to see if they can open up a couple of cans of shaving cream. That worked. We'll finish up with a bad guy's view of the 1861 Navy revolver.